everybody, what is up? Cobra here with another On the Chopping Block episode where I review my painted neutrals. Now this week, from popular request, we have Romania and Bulgaria, and so a few of the reviews will be a little like this, where I combine a certain number of powers, mainly something like one of them is a smaller power, and in today's episode, Bulgaria, where I don't have as many pieces painted for them, but like I said, only some will be like this, and then some others will just focus on one particular nation. But as you know from the title, today's nations are Romania and Bulgaria. So, like usual, these powers are from World War I and World War II, so they see service in both Global War 1936 and my own custom Global 1914 game. So I guess first off, we'll start with the larger power. We have Romania, and so first off, we've got the Romanian infantry. What I used for these guys are any like 172 custom infantry. These are from a Russian winter graycoats set. So you can see here we've got the Romanian flag on the bottom. Very nice looking uniform, just kind of dark green, simple, but looks pretty nice on the board. Next up, we have a couple Romanian militia. So here you've got the militia. Now the reason that I have a few more Romanian like infantry, so like these militia, is because of an expansion set that I've been working on as of late. And so in that, it basically gives Romania some extra territories, and therefore they have the need for extra units that go in those new territories. So here are the two Romanians. Next up, for infantry class, we have the Romanian cavalry, just a normal risk cavalry. Nothing too special about that. I really like the Romanian flag. It looks pretty nice in the colors I chose for it. All right, next up we have an artillery piece. This is mainly for my World War I game, because in that game, Romania just has a few infantry and an artillery. All right, into mechanized class, we have the light tank. You usually don't see this thing in Global War because I think usually Germany wants to align Romania during our Operation Barbarossa, and I think they get the light tank in like 1941, so Germany would have to align them a little bit later if they want that free light tank. They do get a motorized infantry though, and so here I've just got an Opel Blitz truck. These the tank and the truck were painted a little later, so they aren't like my proudest paints, but they look decent when they're on the board. They match everything. All right, and then lastly for Romania, we have their fighter that starts in Global 36. Now, the fighter, the reason I chose the Corsair is I forget the name of the Romanian model, but Romania had a fighter that looked a lot like the Corsair. It was actually one of the most modern fighters of its time because, as most people know, the Corsair was a later fighter plane, designed by the Americans. So the Romanians actually had a fairly similar fighter that had been in service since the early 40s. So here we've got it painted up here. This is a Romanian camouflage scheme. I do have the German roundels crosses because originally this was just a German fighter, but I decided to just start it out as Romania because when it's in Romania, it looks decent, and when you align Romania, it just helps the German player know that this is a German fighter. Lastly, for Romania, they do have a minor fleet, so this is their torpedo boat destroyer, just a 1914 cruiser. I've tried to keep all my torpedo boat destroyers similar. I may paint up a new Romanian torpedo boat destroyer because I have a few ships that look a little more like what they actually used, so we'll see. But I do like this ship a lot. It looks pretty nice in the Black Sea, or the Baltic Sea. Actually, yeah, Black Sea. So that is Romania. And then lastly, we have Bulgaria. So again, Bulgaria is in both World Wars, but they serve, as of World War II, their army wasn't awesome, fairly under-equipped compared to some other powers. So I think in Global, they just have an infantry and cavalry, or a few of each. Another Russian winter graycoat, but looks pretty nice as a Bulgarian infantryman. But in World War I, they do start with, they have two territories in my game, and they are a little bit more competent. They have a few, I think 4 or 6 infantry. Haven't worked that out quite yet in terms of setup, but they are a bigger power in that game, like a larger minor power. And here we have the Bulgarian cavalry, another Risk piece. And finally, the Bulgarian artillery. This is a Risk artillery piece. I do like these things, like they look for Risk pieces really nice. The one issue is that sometimes I get burnout from some of the units that I paint up. So for instance, this artillery piece, I decided to all my neutrals that needed artillery for World War I ended up just using these because it was easiest. I had a bunch of spares, but it really made me tired of painting all these little artillery and trying to do different camouflage variations. But it makes a good World War I era artillery piece, just maybe an older model that they had picked up and ended up using. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and somebody requested these nations, so if you have a particular neutral power you want to see in the future, definitely leave it down below in the comments. If you aren't already, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and yeah, hope to see you guys again. Cobra out.